What would you do if the one person you trusted with your whole life forgot the most important day you share, your anniversary, and then a few days later you found out he spent thousands of dollars on jewelry for someone else, not just anyone but your sister? Sounds like something out of a cruel movie, doesn't it? But this isn't a script. This happened to me. And when I tell you it broke something inside me that I'll never get back, I'm not exaggerating. Because betrayal isn't always about secret hotel rooms or lipstick stains. Sometimes it's about being forgotten while someone else gets remembered in the most painful way. The thing is, I'd been looking forward to this anniversary for months. 10 years of marriage, a whole decade. 10 years of building a home together, paying bills side by side, sitting in hospital waiting rooms together, laughing at the stupidest jokes, fighting over nothing, and making up like we couldn't breathe without each other. You don't just stumble into 10 years, you fight for it piece by piece. And I thought we had fought for it. I thought he cared about it as much as I did. I had planned something simple but meaningful. We weren't flashy people. We didn't need a big party or a trip across the world. I'd made a reservation at the little Italian place where we'd had our first date, the one with the red checkered tablecloths, and the older waiter who always winked at us because he remembered us from back then. I had written him a card, not just a happy anniversary card, but a letter, pouring out everything we'd been through, everything I still loved about him, and everything I hoped the next 10 years would bring. I'd tucked it into my bag, ready to give it to him over candlelight and pasta, expecting tears or at least a smile that told me he felt the same. But the morning of our anniversary, he didn't say a word. Not one. I made him his favorite breakfast, sourdough toast, scrambled eggs with chili flakes, strong coffee the way he liked it. I thought maybe he was waiting for the perfect moment, maybe he wanted to surprise me later. He ate quickly, scrolling through emails on his phone, muttered something about a meeting, and rushed out the door with his tie half crooked. I laughed to myself, convincing my heart it was part of a plan. He's pretending, I thought. He's pretending to forget so the surprise will be even bigger later. All day, I clung to that idea like it was oxygen. But when the evening came, he walked in carrying nothing but his laptop bag, exhausted, muttering about deadlines, no flowers, no dinner, no card, not even a happy anniversary. He collapsed onto the couch, scrolling his phone while I sat across from him with the reservation burning in my mind, the letter heavy in my bag. I told myself maybe he had something planned for the weekend, maybe he was too tired tonight, maybe life had just gotten in the way. That's what love does. It makes excuses when someone lets you down. But 3 days later, I found the receipt. It was crumpled in the pocket of his jacket when I was tossing clothes into the wash. I almost threw it out without looking, but something made me open it. And there it was, $3,000, jewelry store downtown. My first thought was that he had been planning something after all, that maybe he'd forgotten the date but still wanted to surprise me. My heart actually fluttered at the idea. That flutter didn't last long. When I asked him about it, he hesitated for a fraction of a second, and then he said it like it was the most casual thing in the world. Oh, that. It was for your sister, for her birthday. I wanted to get her something nice. Do you know what it feels like when every sound in the world suddenly goes silent? When you can hear nothing but your own heartbeat pounding in your ears? That was me in that moment. For my sister? I repeated, my voice shaking. Yeah, he said, shrugging. She's been having a rough time. I thought it'd cheer her up. I stared at him, waiting for the punchline, waiting for him to say he was joking, waiting for any sign that this wasn't real. But it was. He forgot our anniversary, but he remembered her birthday. He didn't buy me flowers, but he bought her a necklace worth more than our rent. I laughed, but it wasn't a normal laugh. It was sharp and broken, a sound that made even him flinch. You spent $3,000 on my sister while your wife got nothing for 10 years of marriage? He started fumbling through excuses. She needed cheering up. It wasn't romantic. I was reading too much into it, but all I could see in my mind was her opening that velvet box, her fingers brushing over the chain, her smile as she clasped it around her neck. And that image gutted me. The worst part? She showed up to the family barbecue the next week wearing it. Of course she did. She strutted in like she was on a catwalk, the pendant catching the sun, dangling there like proof of how small I was in my own marriage. She tilted her head just enough for it to sparkle and said, "Isn't it gorgeous? He has such good taste." I wanted to rip it off her neck. I wanted to scream, but instead I smiled tight and went inside to refill the drinks because that's what I've always done. I swallow the pain, I keep the peace, I play the role of the good wife, the good sister. But inside, I was burning alive. That necklace wasn't just jewelry. It was a symbol that my husband could forget me and remember her, that my love was disposable while hers was precious. That night, I told him, I can forgive a lot of things, but I can't forgive being invisible. He said I was being dramatic. He said it was just a gift. But it wasn't just a gift. It was the truth, staring me in the face, forcing me to see what I'd been trying to ignore for years. And that's when I started to notice everything else. The late-night texts, the way his phone never left his pocket anymore, the way he and my sister shared glances when they thought no one was looking. The necklace was just the beginning. And that's where the story really starts. The days after that barbecue felt like walking through molasses. Everything looked the same on the outside. The same house, the same routines, the same man sitting across from me at dinner. But everything had shifted. It was like the floor beneath us had cracked, and I was the only one who could feel it tilting. He acted normal, like the necklace wasn't hanging around my sister's neck like a neon sign, like forgetting our anniversary wasn't a wound still bleeding inside me. But I couldn't shake it. Everywhere I looked, there were reminders. A commercial for jewelry on TV, a couple laughing over dinner, a calendar date circled in red that now felt like a cruel joke. I started noticing every little thing between him and my sister. Maybe I was paranoid. Maybe grief makes you see patterns where there aren't any, but I swear their connection was growing right under my nose. The texts were the hardest to stomach. I'd see his phone light up with her name when we were supposed to be watching a movie together, or when we were lying in bed. He'd tilt the screen away, type a quick reply, and lock it. Once when he went to shower, I picked it up. I knew his passcode. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped it. The messages weren't explicit, not the kind you could point to and scream cheating, but they were worse in a way, intimate, constant. Her sending him memes late at night, him telling her about his work frustrations before he told me, her calling him the only one who really listens, him replying with things like, "Don't worry, you'll get through it." They were building a world together in the shadows of mine. That night I confronted him again. "Why are you talking to her so much?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. He looked up from his phone, blinking like I'd caught him mid-crime. "She needs someone. She said you're distant." That word. Distant. It hit me like a slap. "Distant?" I hissed. "I'm distant because my husband forgot our anniversary and bought my sister a necklace worth $3,000. I'm distant because you're pouring energy into her instead of fixing what you broke with me." He rolled his eyes. "You're blowing this out of proportion. Out of proportion. Just like dramatic, just like overthinking. The words men use when they want to make you question your sanity." Something inside me snapped then. Not a big explosion. More like the sound of glass cracking quietly under pressure. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just said, "If you keep putting her before me, there won't be a marriage left to save." He didn't reply. He just stared at me, then went back to scrolling his phone. After that, I started pulling away. I didn't mean to, but I couldn't help it. I stopped waiting up for him at night. I stopped cooking his favorite meals. I stopped trying to initiate conversations that he only half listened to. It was like I was rehearsing life without him. And then came the breaking point. 2 months later, another family barbecue. I should have skipped it, but my mother guilt-tripped me, said it would look bad if I didn't show up. So I went, plastering on a smile while my stomach twisted. I was in the kitchen helping Mom chop vegetables when I heard voices on the back porch. I glanced out the window, and there they were, my husband and my sister, standing close, too close. She was wearing the necklace, of course. She leaned toward him, laughing at something he said, her hand brushing his arm. It was subtle but intimate in a way that made my blood run cold. I dropped the knife and stormed outside, my pulse hammering in my ears. "Enjoying yourselves," I said, my voice loud enough to make everyone in the yard turn their heads. They both froze. Her hand dropped like she'd been caught stealing. He stammered. "We were just talking." "Just talking," I repeated, my voice shaking. "Funny how you never just talk to me like that anymore." My sister tried to laugh it off. "God, you're so sensitive. It's nothing." "Nothing?" I snapped. $3,000 wasn't nothing. Midnight texts aren't nothing. Whispering on porches isn't nothing. The yard went dead silent. My mom's hand hovered in the air with the salad tongs. My dad cleared his throat. My cousins stared at the ground. And my husband just stood there, wide-eyed, like he couldn't believe I'd actually said it out loud. "Do you want her?" I asked him, my voice raw. "Do you want my sister? Because that's what it looks like." He shook his head, stammering. "No, no, it's not like that." "Then why?" I demanded. "Do you treat her like a queen while I'm nothing but a shadow in my own marriage?" He opened his mouth, but no words came out. My sister muttered something about me being crazy and stormed inside. I didn't wait for him to recover. I grabbed my bag, walked out the front door, and drove away. That night, I checked into a hotel. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the ugly patterned carpet, feeling like my whole life had collapsed. 10 years of marriage, undone by neglect and betrayal. 10 years of loyalty, reduced to a receipt in a pocket and a necklace around my sister's neck. He called. Over and over. Left voicemails, sent texts. "Come home. We can work this out. You're making a mistake, but here's the thing. I wasn't making a mistake. He had. And he kept making it. Every day he chose her over me. For the first time, I thought about what life would look like without him. Scary, yes. Lonely, maybe. But also free. Free from being invisible. Free from making excuses for someone who didn't see me anymore. In the weeks that followed, I stayed with a friend. He tried to apologize, but the apologies were thin, empty, the kind you give when you're sorry you got caught, not sorry for what you did. My sister never apologized at all. She wore that necklace like armor, like a trophy. And me, I started rebuilding. Slowly, painfully, I picked up the pieces of myself I'd dropped over the years, the parts that had been too busy carrying the weight of someone else's needs. I looked in the mirror and reminded myself, I am not invisible. Not anymore. Do I know what the future holds? Divorce papers? Counseling? Maybe both. But one thing is certain, I'll never let myself be second place in my own life again. And that necklace, that cursed glittering reminder of everything I lost, let her keep it. Because it's not my burden anymore. It's hers.